I must admit, I've done a lot of speeches over the years, and this one has been a tough one to put together. Like Brenda said yesterday, Brenda Restuhl, her mind was going in so many directions. So is mine, even after trying to guide myself with what others have heard from me probably way too many times. Less is more, find the sweet spots, fit for purpose, start with the end in mind. I am going to start with the end in mind, and that end that we have been aspiring towards is flourishing. Mental health promotion flourishing in Canada. I'll combine that with the purpose of this session. As Shannon mentioned, it is to reflect on the forces that brought us together and will keep us together to help mental health promotion flourish in this country. Now, since storytelling has been central to this symposium, with Dawn, the projects, through the knowledge mobilization panel as well, I'm going to try my hand at telling bits and pieces of a story. It's a story, Dawn would tell me, only I can tell. It's my story of the hub. Be assured, the hub is not the point of the story. I'm staying true to the purpose of the session. The point is to uncover some forces that can help us flourish, support our work together. My hub story, panning for gold. The preface to my story. This is more like story fragments. Please forgive many, many omissions. We will find other moments for filling in those gaps. As we've heard in the symposium, that gap is fillable too. Chapter 1, the birth of the hub. The hub had a rough start to life. It was awarded by the Public Health Agency, and then a decision was made to close the hub's intended host organization. Some of you may remember the Propel Center for Population Health Impact. It was a bit like that book, Who Moved My Cheese? What do we do? What do I do? Since I wouldn't be able to fill the role that was in the proposal. Well, I did what any rational person would do pre-pandemic, and I hopped on a plane. I hopped on a plane to Ottawa. I wanted to speak in person with the manager at the time for the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund, Christine Harmston. The fact that the hub is here today is because of the convictions, the questions, the heart and the actions of Christine and her team behind her and her KDE right hand and the hub's brainchild, I would add, Shannon Bradley Dexter. They listened and then carefully asked if I'd be willing to explore how we could make this work. The invitation brought another key player into the hub mix, Dr. Wendy Fletcher, and others on her team at Renison University College. I approached Wendy to explore Renison as the hub's home in collaboration with the University of Waterloo. She had the same mindset as Shannon and Christine. How do we make this work? I remember her words, or at least the sentiments. The world needs the hub. If you were here for the opening session or watched her video, I mean, I can't possibly speak the way Wendy does, her inspiring words, but the world needs the hub, anything to support infants, children, youth, and their support systems to grow up mentally healthy. We hear so often about the power of individual people, the power of one, the power of the ones, because it repeats itself over and over again. An extension to this is people who are well positioned, who understand their roles, role-specific actions in the language of mental health literacy, and who care, can truly make things happen. Part of what makes them precious is the mindset driving their actions, a mindset that leads with, how do we make this work? What can we do? Holding true to a vision and yet being flexible in how it gets achieved. They are the power of ones. They are gold. Chapter 2, critical developmental milestones. There were several of these and all attended to without happening in lockstep linear order. I'll touch on 3 milestones. Number 1, the hub's home team. Just like there is no health without mental health, there is no hub without humans. A first milestone was hiring the hub secretariat, the hub of the hub. Options for relevant expertise were both broad and deep. An early choice of the hub was that our expertise and experience would need to be first and foremost about our primary mandate, K, D, and E. The hub had only 4 positions to fill. You know as well as I do, it takes unicorns for these types of roles. The Hub was fortunate to find a few, some of whom I worked with at ProPal, and who had accrued years of experience working in Hub-like structures and roles. These are rare creatures who have been part of the Hub anytime since the beginning, and who I love dearly. I'll just name them all. There aren't too many. Lisa Stockton, Annetta Abramowitz, Eric Davernaut, Mary Alice Jolin, Renata Valitis, Carol Murray, and Marissa Lair. There is no stronger force than people who care about what they do, care about each other, care about making a positive difference. The power of one's gold. Milestone number 2, a Hub extended family. No matter how mighty this small home team was, it needed an extended family to envision and execute the work of the Hub. The Hub's extended family has taken shape over time. In our earliest days, we had a leadership team that is now called a Hub Resource Collaborative. Once again, many different types of expertise and experience would add value to the Hub. Essential very early on was ensuring strong mental health expertise to complement the KDE expertise, another power of one. Kathy Short, Executive Director of the School Mental Health Ontario, was instrumental in making many of those connections within the mental health community. Some pretty cool and amazing talent joined the Hub's extended family, and I cannot name them all. Some of the attraction, I think, was the chance to be part of something new and something they believed was meaningful. Another attraction I heard often was being able to connect with new people. This was is a purpose-built team for the Hub and quite eclectic. Very few people knew each other before the Hub. Maybe these forces can be used by others when building teams. As we started working together, we grappled with a few things. One was the Hub's model of leadership. We started with a co-lead model, an academic and practice partnership. I was truly blessed to work alongside Janice Pope, another power of one. She's gold and contributed enormously to the formation of the Hub. Me from academia, Janice from practice. Unlike me though, Janice had another full-time and demanding job. Her Hub role was formally approved as part of her job, but nothing else from her job got dropped or backfilled by others. Sound familiar to anyone? For Janice, as with others who are deeply caring and competent professionals with high expectations of themselves, this situation, of course, is untenable. The name co-lead was unhelpful since it inadvertently carried with it a felt sense of responsibility for a 50-50 split in leadership. This kind of scenario is quite common for collaborative, innovative projects that bring together people who hold other primary positions. We saw this same theme play out when naming what is now the HRC, or the Hub Resource Collaborative. At first, it was a leadership team. We considered lots of options that may sound familiar to you: steering committee, advisory committee, Hub Partners Forum, board, working group. We landed initially on leadership team, but it didn't fit. Like co-lead, it carried too much responsibility, too much implied responsibility, more of a governance body, which was neither feasible nor desired by the group. They came up with Hub Resource Collaborative to convey more accurately the purpose of the group, to advise and actively contribute to the work of the Hub in tailored ways. So both of these challenges with the co-lead language and the leadership team language can remind us of the importance of authenticity, finding language that is true to roles, that tells it like it is, that fosters expectations that individuals hold of themselves and that we hold of others, that are realistic and sustainable. Milestone number 3, the Hub's identity. Of course, we didn't start with a blank slate. We were funded, like others, based on a proposal that was in response to an invitation from the Public Health Agency. Those invitations, as many of us know, lay out what they want. Of course, they have to. In the case of the Hub, a 21st project within the MHPIF that would support strong evaluations, population health intervention research, and knowledge sharing. Our job as applicants was to share what we could offer, our translation of that request. Now, specifics aside for a moment, there's a bigger picture. Identity, I think, is an important part of the story. The whole idea of a KDE Hub within the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund was new. The MHPIF is the second generation of FACT's previous 10-year innovation strategy. The innovation strategy didn't have a KDE Hub. So the hub was also new to the Innovation Fund team at the Public Health Agency. It was new for funded projects, even pretty new for the mental health and public health fields overall. New can absolutely be exciting and fresh and full of potential. New also can raise some questions. It's different. How does this hub change how we're doing things in the past? How are we going to work together? What will they do that we did before? Worst of all, is this hub going to tell us what to do? These questions influenced another set of questions we asked, the hub asked, when refining our niche or identity. How could we complement rather than duplicate or compete with the work of the projects, the Public Health Agency and others? What value could the hub bring that would be beyond what individual projects can do on their own? One example is what the hub does to create new knowledge, part of the mandate that others tell me is different from other knowledge hubs and something they value. The hub emphasizes creating new knowledge across projects. The storytelling study that was discussed in sessions earlier today is our phase 1 example. As far as I can tell, the hub has found some sweet spots that add some value to the field and are non-threatening, palatable, and maybe even welcomed within a growing community across the country. Another nugget about shaping our identity is about the process, not the outcome. We just heard this in the last session, the journey, not the destination, a truism to be sure. But every experience, including the hubs, can enrich our understanding and commitment to the journey. As I mentioned, the proposal was our starting point. Directions were firm, specifics needed to be flexible to honor our commitment to an ethic of co-design. We engaged with others, our host institution, the Hub Resource Collaborative, the projects, the Public Health Agency, to refine the hub's identity. Now, engagement, I get it, is not new or innovative for anyone here. For all the right reasons, it's expected in how we work together. It's also tricky. There are so many different degrees and types of participation. Practical considerations like time and deadlines are real. And for the hub, they play out all the time, including in planning this very symposium. Others' preferences, norms of behaviors, capacities also matter. The hub has tried to do this with the Innovation Fund projects in particular. So getting to the point where they can freely say, stop asking me is a good, if comical sign signal to the hub team. Of course, collaborative work takes continual navigating for everyone involved. There are lots of participatory guidelines to follow. Even so, infusing some humility and humanity into these guidelines is how we find our true sweet spots and biggest pots of gold. There's always room for more development, but at some point you need to get out into the world. Recall from yesterday, vision with no implementation is delusion. Chapter 3, proof of concept. We were blessed with some fantastic planning on the Public Health Agency's part to give the hub time to get established before the Innovation Fund projects started in earnest. This lead time helped enormously. The pandemic also helped, even though, of course, it was unplanned. The pandemic meant program announcements were delayed. The Innovation Fund program announcement. It gave us about 9 months to get to know the projects, refine and build our website with their input. We had a login for those first 9 months until the program was announced publicly, and then we could go fully public as well. The 9 months also allowed us time to experiment with different hub supports. A potentially useful nugget, I think, for others is the value of a progressive unveiling. We could have done this without the pandemic, but my hunch is we probably wouldn't have. I'll speak to one more chapter. Chapter 4, maturation. The hub is still young and also growing up. As much as we'd like to claim a natural, internally driven maturation, our growing up is mostly driven by external realities. horrible mental health impacts from the pandemic. As a result, more attention on mental health, a positive, and higher demands for what we do. How the Hub will meet and greet these growing demands is yet to unfold. What I can say for sure is that the KDE Hub will continue with the Mental Health Promotion Innovation Fund in its second phase, the 4 years starting April 1st. That upcoming part of the Hub story is yet to be told and will not be my story to tell. The Hub's been an awesome adventure, and there are other adventures calling. I put those calls on hold at the start of the Innovation Fund and during the pandemic, and I'm so glad I did, but it's now time to answer them. The Hub will welcome new leadership as of April 1st. Drs. Alice Schmidt-Hanbidge and Colleen McMillan will serve as the Hub's scientific co-directors. They are a great fit. Both faculty members at Renison University College with extensive experience in mental health, community engaged scholarship, capacity building, including e-learning. They'll be gold for the Hub and in this community. But you're not done with me just yet. We've got phase 1 to wrap up that includes post-symposium products. This brings me full circle to my struggle with what I would say today. This is not farewell. And yet it's the last time in my role as the Hub scientific director that we will all be together as in person as we get these days. So I want to conclude by speaking briefly to those 2 big feelings we talked about yesterday, gratitude and hope. I'm deeply grateful for the incredible privilege and honor to have led the KDE Hub from its difficult birth to now. I've been awed and blessed with the power of ones. Some of those you've heard about in these brief remarks and seen their hearts and minds at work the past 3 days and 3 years. The Hub Home Team, the Hub Extended Family, Public Health Agency, the projects. I'm deeply grateful for how we play to each other's strengths and how we mind and fill each other's gaps as people and in our professional roles. My hope is real and it's big. We are no doubt entering a growth phase for mental health promotion. There is energy and momentum to change what's broken in our systems and structures so that so many people do not reach breaking points themselves. With voices and visuals from the Innovation Fund projects yesterday, we were reminded of a compelling why for the work we do. It's a compelling why because we share a compelling vision of flourishing. I believe the desire to support mental wellness and flourishing is so compelling because it's as much in the structures and systems of societies, sometimes considered out there as it is in here, in our own hearts and minds, the lived experiences we have of feeling our own version of flourishing and our own version of languishing too. My final, I promise, Shannon, word is a short vignette from early this morning. A note from my mother. She sent me a note to see if she could join this session and hear what I had to say. Her words. Feeling so proud, but not totally aware of all it encompasses. Well, me neither, Mom. For all of us in our work and in our lives, we'll just keep building the bridge as we walk on it, learning as we go, panning for gold. So the end, for now, side by side with many new beginnings.